What it do, folks? Welcome to the Sports 2.0 show. I'm going to be your host tonight. I'm Erik Neff, Sports 2.0 Network. With me tonight, I've got Tanner Kern, BaseballSpotlight.com's lead writer, Between the Lines host, Sports 2.0 Network genius. How are you doing tonight, Tanner?
I'm doing good, Erik. I really appreciate that nice introduction there. Probably not as nice as I give it you on Between the Lines, but we'll save that for
It was
another day.
close. I try to rival. I try to rival your world famous intros over there. So let's get right into it, man. Let's talk some baseball. I am pumped. I love these all baseball shows we do, as you guys know. It's Tanner and I's favorite sport. We could chat about it for hours. We could bore you guys with some nonsensical stats for hours. But tonight we're just going to kind of go through the divisions and let's see where we're at. We're only a few weeks into the season. Of course, it's still early. We're still monitoring a lot of different things, but the divisions are what they are right now. These wins still count in September, so we're going to talk about them. We're going to kick things off tonight. We're going to start with the NL East, which has been kind of an odd division in my opinion this year. Right now, you've got the Mets leading that division with a 7-5 record. They, of course, weren't able to get in all their games at the beginning of the season. They had the series with the Nationals that was slowed down due to COVID. They've had some weather. I know, Tanner, you were on your way to a Mets game and it got rained out. That's so sad. I felt so bad. It was just awful. I hate when that happens. It's a nightmare. So when we're looking here at the NL East, we've got the Phillies sitting at 9-9. You've got the Braves at 7-10, and of course you got the Mets at 7-5. Who's surprising so far? Who are we looking at, Tanner? Who has came out of the gates and really shown you something so far this year?
I'm going to say who was surprising for the wrong reason, and that is obviously Francisco Lindor. I mean, Francisco Lindor wanted to get the deal done by opening day, and he's lucky he did because he is playing like trash right now. I think he's batting about 170, 180. And if you rebuttal whatever the word is for that, my 170 claim that he's batting that with his on base percentage that he gets on, he's got a 330 on base percentage. You're crazy. This man is making $341 million to get the high paid more than Tatis Jr., who's sucking over in San Diego. If you rebuttal my claim with he's getting on base 330, he's got an on base percentage of 330, you're crazy because this guy is paid to hit the baseball. He's batting 170. I think his slugging percentage is 190. So he's been a pretty big surprise so far. I thought he would get off to a little hotter start. Maybe the New York market's not meant for Francisco Lindor. I don't know. But I think he'll get better as we move forward here. And then Atlanta at the bottom division's also been pretty surprising. I think they will heat up. Ronald Acuna Jr. is absolutely locked in at the plate right now.
Yes.
But
yes.
Other than that, they haven't been that impressive. I mean, last night, lose to the Yankees. The Yankees are one of the worst teams in baseball right now. So I think Atlanta needs to heat up. But when they do find their stride, I think they'll climb back up to the top of the division.
Definitely. And I agree with you on Lindor. I hate batting average. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate that stat, but it is useful. And as you just said, the man's getting paid over $300 million. He's not getting paid that to walk. You're not getting paid that amount of money to walk. You're not Matt Carpenter. You're not up there trying to be the umpire. You're getting paid that amount of money to drive in runs and to become runs yourself. To do that, you got to hit the baseball. So I do think Lindor rebounds. I mean, obviously he's not going to finish the season under the Mendoza line. But maybe the New York market does have something to do with it. Maybe more can be said about playing in that New York market. I mean, look at Giancarlo Stanton since he's been in New York. I know he's been hurt a lot, but I think he's got like 10 home runs in the last 3 seasons combined or something crazy, which, as I said, he's been hurt a lot. It's going to happen. But yeah, I think you're dead on with Lindor. They're not paying him to have a 330 OBP. They're paying him to bat 330. They're paying him to hit the baseball. And that lineup desperately needs somebody hitting the baseball. So, and 100% agree with you on the Braves. That team's going to get it going. The way Acuna's playing, it's otherworldly watching this man play the game early in this season. And if this is a sample of what we get to watch for the next 15 years, man, am I excited. Man, am I excited to watch this guy play because he's fun and he puts up the numbers. He, to me, should have been getting the hype that Fernando Tatis Jr. was getting last year. Tatis Jr. did it for 60 games or whatever and was very exciting and fun while doing it, yes. Acuna has put up a couple of great seasons for his first couple of seasons in the league and is also that fun. And it seemed like we were hating on Acuna more at the end of last season. He gets a lot of hate for his arrogance or cockiness or whatever you want to call it. I like my players cocky personally. I was a big Kobe Bryant fan. I like my good players cocky. I hate when a bad player is arrogant, but Wilson Contreras talking to you. Hate when a bad player is arrogant, but love whenever a good player is arrogant. So I love Acuna, and a team that you kind of passed over there in the East. The Phillies starting to get it together, which is great to see. Alec Boehm starting to get the bat going. Bryce Harper starting to really get it going out there in Philly. Look out for the Phillies. The Nats, just don't think they quite have enough. I know a team with Max Scherzer and Juan Soto, of course, one of the best players in the league. It's tough to say that they don't have enough, but I don't think they quite have enough. So.
Yeah, you don't want to hit the Nationals in the playoffs. That's what I'm going to say about them. If you got a 3-game or 5-game series, whatever, with the Nationals in October, you don't want to have that because they got a lot of good arms coming at you, but I don't think they have the offensive firepower to get there. Phillies are a dangerous team when Bryce Harper's hitting the baseball. I mean, that revamped bullpen looks good. Looked better in the first week of the season than now, but Philadelphia is going to be dangerous. This is anyone's division, I think. And I think that's the case throughout the league. A lot of these divisions where we thought one team was going to conquer and dominate everyone is turning into a race after 2 weeks. I know it's only 2 weeks or 3 weeks into the season, but we got a lot of good baseball ahead of us this year.
I agree. And I also think that division turns into a battle at the end of the season. I think maybe even more so than some of these other divisions. In a few of the other divisions, I think the leader finally gets it going, maybe takes off a little bit. This is a division where it looks like maybe similar to Big Ten basketball this season. Maybe they beat up on each other a lot. They all play a lot. They all beat each other up a lot. There's a lot of aces that I would love to have on my team in that division. You've got your Aaron Nola, you've got Zach Wheeler, you've got Jacob deGrom, you've got Max Scherzer, you've got Steven Strasburg, who's unfortunately on the DL right now. But that is just a division full of aces that I would not want to meet. So moving on to the NL Central, or as I like to call it, I don't like to call it anything. They're terrible. The whole division's terrible. I hate it all. I'm wearing a Cardinals hat. I'll just throw that stupid thing. Nobody cares about that. They're terrible. The Cubs can't hit. The Reds and Brewers, they're just taking off. The Reds have slowed down a little bit. I will say that. The first few weeks of this season, they came out red hot. My Cardinals either can't score runs or can't pitch. They like to take turns. So what are you seeing out of the NL Central? Who do you like there?
Well, first of all, I don't want to spend too much time on them, but Pittsburgh doesn't look bad. I mean, they don't look good, obviously. They're not going to win this division, but they don't look bad. Every team that plays Pittsburgh needs to take them seriously, especially in this division where no one's that good. The Brewers, though, I kind of like the Brewers, honestly. They're about to sweep the San Diego Padres right now. They're in the bottom of the ninth inning, got one out. They're up 4-2 on the Padres. I don't know if the Padres are all hype, whatever, but the Brew Crew doesn't look bad. One thing that kind of concerns me about Milwaukee is Christian Yelich right now, the back injury. This is a guy that they signed to be their franchise player for the next 10 years. Now there's discussions of him possibly getting traded away because they can't build a team around Christian Yelich. So the Brewers have been impressive. Christian Yelich has hit the ball. Like he's got that back going from last year off the slump, but his back's going to be a concern, and down the stretch, can it hold up into October? I don't know. Not that the Brewers are going to do anything, but they probably are going to win this division, and Christian Yelich might not be able to help him in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. A few years back when the Cardinals were in deep talks with the Marlins, and the Marlins were unloading their entire outfield, and we basically had a trade with the Marlins done for Stanton. Stanton didn't want to play in St. Louis. That's fine. Go be hurt somewhere else. We don't care. And then it became this duel between Yelich and Ozuna, and I felt like the only one of my friends that wanted Ozuna. He had just come off a season where he hit 36 bombs, hit over 300 that year, and Yelich had not done that yet. But everyone kept telling me, oh, but the player he's going to be. And he did show us the player he could be there for a couple of years. And I would be remiss if I said I wasn't surprised that he just can't seem to get it going now. And maybe it is the back. That's something that the Cardinals are dealing with right now since Goldie here a few weeks ago. Goldie had some back issues, and he came out murdering the baseball. And since that back issue, he hasn't moved the bat much. I mean, he's striking out looking. He's fouling a lot off. He's late. And it just goes to show you that I mean, how important is your back in baseball? It's everything. It is your form. It is your stance. It's everything. You have no power without the back. You have no speed without the back. And you really hate to see it for guys like Goldie and Yelich, these guys that can be superstars. But I think right now it's hard to mention the Brewers without talking about that 1-2 punch they have in their starting rotation in Corbin Burns
baby.
and Woodruff. Man, Burns looks so good. Completely unhittable a couple of his starts this season. And Woodruff is back to pre-injury form as well, striking out 7, 8, 9, 10 guys whenever he comes out. So I'm scared of the Brewers. As a Cardinal fan, I'm afraid of the Brewers. I hope the Cardinals make possibly an addition to try to go after the crown in the Central. I think we're going to need a corner infielder that can hit the ball, and I think we're going to need one more starter. I just don't see anyone else in our staff being able to step up and take that role, or any of our outfielders step up and really be able to get on base a lot. Justin Williams, he's kind of been stepping up lately. If Williams steps up, maybe give him a ride, take a shot with Williams. But outside of Dylan Carlson, I just don't think we have enough in the outfield to get it done. Now, the Reds are extremely interesting to me because the Reds, to me, have the starting pitching talent to be there at the end, but they're wildly inconsistent. And if Luis Castillo is not going to be your ace, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what he's doing. I don't understand. I don't know how he's getting jacked. His slider and his changeup are complete. His changeup is possibly the most disturbing changeup that I've ever seen. That thing gives me nightmares. But he just hasn't been able to really carry the team in his starts this year. So I don't quite understand that. I think the Castellanos suspension was kind of BS. Not a fan of that. So hopefully that doesn't slow the Reds down. Personally, I think the NL Central is a better division when the Reds and the Cardinals are good. We don't care about the Brewers and the Cubs. They can be bad. We don't need them.
The Reds are all hype though. I mean, honestly, they had a great first week, but great couple weeks, I would say, but they're slowing down drastically. I mean, they ride off momentum. Castellanos throwing a punch or whatever, or flexing over whoever the pitcher was. Yeah, flexing. I mean, that got him 10 wins right there, or then 9 wins right now. That got him 6 wins right there. So I wouldn't put too much hype into the Reds. I don't think they're going to be doing much by the dog days of the summer.
That being said, the Padres last year certainly rode that hype train a lot of the year. I didn't think they quite had the talent to go as far as they did. And I think that all the hype with Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis, I think that really carried them for a long ways. So speaking of the Padres, let's move on to the NL West. Right now, you've got the Dodgers, who completely look unstoppable at 14-4. In my opinion, the best team in baseball by a decent margin. And very bad news for the Padres today. Dinelson Lamet left the game today with arm tightness. So praying for Dinelson Lamet. Really don't want to see this guy hurt. He's a beast. He obviously has the talent to be an ace and to carry you in every start that he makes. So prayers up for the Padres right now. Really hope he's okay. But the Giants at 11-7 in second place, that's something I did not see coming. What are the Giants to you, Tanner? What are they? Are they going to fall completely off the radar on us, or are they going to be one of the teams that are there to maybe play for a wild card spot at the end?
I don't think they'll get a wild card spot. I think the Padres are significantly better than the Giants down the stretch. They could get that second wild card spot, maybe sneak in. I don't think it's likely, though. Here's the thing about the Giants. They got a rough situation. They need to move to the central part of the country to play in the National League Central because that's the only chance that they're going to have at winning a division. They're in limbo right now. You got Arizona, you got Colorado at the bottom of this division. They are horrendous. Madison Bumgarner looks like I could pitch better than Madison Bumgarner right now, and I threw about 60 in Little League. Then you look at the top part of the division. You got the Dodgers and the Padres. The Dodgers are significantly better than the Padres, significantly better. But the Padres, I think, are significantly better than the Giants right now. The Giants in a year or two get a few more additions. I think they're looking a lot better, but they're in limbo. They're playing for that second wild card spot. It could be tough to grab with the teams in the East. I think one of the teams in the East is going to get that wild card, but we're still early. And you know what? 15 games or whatever we played so far, 16, 17 games in that range. We got a lot of baseball left to play. So all these teams that have started hot, they're going to cool down. The teams that started started cool are going to heat up. It's just that's the nature of this game. What do you think of them?
With the Giants, I can go either way. I love what I've seen from them so far. I've been a big Yastrzemski guy since he came up, just because I loved Carl, one of the all-time greats out there in Boston. So I love seeing these legacy players succeed. But I'm with you. I think the Padres are a lot better than they are. I think they have a lot more talent on the roster. I don't think the Giants have the pitching to keep up with not only the Padres, but as you said, a lot of the teams in the NL East who we think are a lot better than they're playing right now. So I look for a team like the Phillies or the Mets to steal that NL wild card spot while the Braves go on and win the division over there. And the only team that is likely to make the playoffs in the West right now looks like the Dodgers. Now the Padres could obviously be there if they get it together. Tatis Jr. is playing very bad right now. While I think he starts to play better, I do not believe he's the $330 million superstar that most people thought he was. I thought that was an odd contract to offer way too early. I think it was way too early to offer him that contract. Now, I was a huge fan of his dad, Fernando Tatis, Cardinal legend, the man that hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning off the same pitcher, Chan-Ho Park, by the way. That's managerial malpractice, whoever did that. I need to look that up. Whoever left Chan-Ho Park in for that 2nd grand slam, oh my gosh, that's some terrible managing. But just never thought Tatis Jr. was quite the player that the hype led him up to be. But the Padres are much better than the Giants, and I think they finished 2nd in the NL West. So moving on to the AL, why are we stupid, Tanner? Why are we so stupid?
We're not stupid.
We put a whole episode together, a whole segment arguing back and forth, kind of semi-jokingly, about the Jays and the Yanks and who's going to win this division. And we barely mentioned the other teams in this division. And apparently the Boston Red Sox caught that episode of the Sports 2.0 show. Rafael Devers decides to hit every fastball that's thrown to him over the wall or near it. And the Red Sox come out and they're 12-6 right now. Now, as we've repeated, tons of baseball left here, folks. The Jays and the Yanks are extremely talented, both teams, the Yanks even more so than the Jays. But are the Red Sox there at the end? Are they a fluke? Are they there at the end? Do they stand a chance against this Yankees team if it comes down to those two down the stretch?
With the way the American League has looked, I'm going to say they could be a wild card spot. They could earn a wild card spot hands down with the way the league has looked. But we're talking about winning the American League East, and the American League East does not look good this year at all. Toronto is not playing up to their ability right now. They need some more pitching to be really, really good. Baltimore, forget about Baltimore. Why are we still talking about Baltimore? They're not good. Tampa Bay does not look good. They only seem to show up when they're playing in the Bronx. And even when they're playing in the Bronx, they don't look that good. The Yankees just say, I want to play terrible because we're playing a small market team and we think we win based off money. Everyone needs to calm down about the New York Yankees right now, though. Everyone needs to calm down, especially the media in New York, the fans. Stop booing Aaron Judge. Stop booing Giancarlo Stanton when they step up to the plate. That's not going to make them play better. These guys need to hit. They can hit. We know they can hit. They've done it. Maybe Giancarlo hasn't done it in New York. Judge can do it, though. We got guys that can hit the ball in New York. They're still going to win this division. They're going to heat up. Now, if Severino comes back off the Tommy John and pitches well, they're going to be fine. The Yankees are a big market team. What do you think Cashman's going to do? He's going to go out at the trade line. He's going to get a pitcher. He's going to get the pieces that he needs to win this division. And for Aaron Boone's sake, they better win the division or he will be on our show next year commentating because he is not going to have a job in New York. But we need to calm down. I think the Yankees will still win the division. I think Boston could finish second, honestly. They impressed me. I think Toronto is still a little ways away. I think the inexperience is going to hurt them. I think they do need some pitching. But again, George Springer hasn't even stepped into the box yet in Toronto or Florida or Buffalo, wherever the hell they're playing.
Yep. 100% agree on that division. The Jays, while talented and while I love to watch them play, of course, all the legacy guys there and then waiting on Springer. I love that team, and I think they have a very bright future, but the pitching's just not quite there yet. Robbie Ray has looked pretty good since returning from injury. Hasn't looked too bad. I think there's still a couple of pitchers and a huge bullpen piece away, possibly 2 or 3 bullpen pieces there. So 100% agree with you there. I think the Yankees maybe not easily win this division, but I think the Yankees win the division. And if what we've seen of the Red Sox is the Red Sox, I do believe they finish second. Maybe they can sneak in with a wild card. I love Bogey. I love Devers. I love what they have going there. I think they've made a few silly moves the last few off seasons. I think most Boston fans will tell you letting, possibly the second best player in the game walk away from your team and head out to LA to make a super team was kind of silly. I think they gave up on Benintendi a little early. He's still a young guy, and there's a lot of talent there. And even if he's not going to hit 350 for you, he's going to get you 20, 25 steals, and he's going to play good defense. So I think they could have given Benintendi another year, and I think he could be adding to what Boston's doing right now. So kind of shame on them for what they've done the last few years, but the way they're playing, what can you say? It's almost like owners and managers know what they're doing. According to fans, obviously, no, they don't ever, but it's almost like they know what they're doing out there in Boston. So let's move on to the AL West. And in my opinion, this has been the most surprising division in all of baseball. You've got the Astros in dead last. I love it. I love the Trastros in last. I know it's been a couple years since the cheating, but I want them to finish in last for a couple of years because nobody took suspensions. I mean, we're suspending Castellanos for flexing, and you've got Correa and Bregman basically saying, yeah, we cheated, nobody cares. And, in a player-driven scheme, no one was suspended. So I would like to see that team lose for personal reasons for a couple of years, so I'm excited about that. But I'm always a closet Athletics fan. Every year, I hope the Athletics are good. I love watching good Athletics baseball. I'm a Billy Bean guy. I love it. So are the Athletics, right now they're sitting at 11-7, tied with the Mariners also at 11-7. Are either one of those teams going to compete at the end of the season? Are the Stros even going to be there? Are the Angels going to be there? Who's going to be there?
Well, the Stros, they are cheaters. They're 100% cheaters. We know that. I'm not a Stros fan, but we got to look at the injury report too. They've had like 5 guys. I think Bregman, Altuve, Maldonado, a couple pitchers. They've had guys that haven't played because of COVID protocol in the past week. So we can put that on the side. I think they're going to heat up again. They're probably going to be at the top of this division. Oakland's going to be towards the top as well. I mean, projections aren't wrong usually. Projections aren't drastically off. Oakland was picked to be at the top of this division. They had a rough start against the Houston Astros to start the season, but they battled back now. They've won 10 straight games. I don't know what the score is right now against the Twins, but they could win 11. I don't know what the score is. Oakland's going to be there. Seattle's not. Seattle is old, and they need to figure out where they're going a little more. They need some young talent. They need to get like Kelenic up to the show. They need to get those kind of guys going. I think Kyle Seager is probably going to go at the deadline. He could go at the end of the season, but I don't think Seattle's going to be there. The Angels have been trending downward. Mike Trout, as we see, cannot do it by himself, and I don't know why the Angels don't go out and get a piece to help Mike Trout. I know you got Rendon, obviously, but you need more. You need something at the bottom of the lineup. They don't have it there. And then you got Texas. Texas is just like, they're not good, but they're pesky, I guess. I don't know. This division doesn't impress me that much to start the season off, but I think Houston is going to climb up to the top by, in a couple weeks, especially when everyone gets healthy.
I agree with you on most of that. I'm going to say most of that because there's one team that I do see possibly being there at the end. That team just got one of their best players back, and that's the Seattle Mariners. The return of Kyle Lewis could be huge for that team. If Kyle Lewis comes out and plays like he did a year ago, AL Rookie of the Year type Kyle Lewis, look out for the Mariners. But I agree with you. I don't understand what the Angels are doing every year after year. I don't understand. I don't understand why they don't go out and get pitching. They just never do it. And I love Shohei Ohtani. I love what Ohtani's doing this year. I think at the end, he leads pitchers in the AL in a lot of statistic categories. I think they've got some pieces. I mean, you've got Rendon, you've got Trout, But as you said, they need something at the bottom of the lineup. And as could be evergreen statement, they need a pitcher. So look out for the Angels. Look out for the A's. I really like the Mariners, though, with Kyle Lewis's return. And by the way, the Twins scored 2 runs in extra innings, and the Athletics just came back and beat them. What the heck is wrong with the Twins?
Wait, actually?
Yeah, the A's won.
Guys, head over to baseballspotlight.com/daily-picks to check it out. Right. I got that right today because I just knew that was going to happen because the Twins suck. We should welcome Dan Bradley to the show now.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm going to do. So, in honor of the Twins losing their 3rd straight, we're going to welcome a massive Twins fan, my friend, massive hockey fan. I'm going to let him just go on this. Dan Bradley, welcome to the show. Your team just lost in extras.
Hi, guys. Happy Wednesday. I'll start on a positive note and say hi to you guys. And I am about to blow a gasket here. So to fill you guys in on what happened, the Twins, Byron Buxton home run, top of the 10th. Twins go up 12-10. Bases loaded, 2 outs. We've got an error at second base. Can't get the final out there. Run comes in to score. They walked the bases loaded, by the way. So Colomé blew the save in the 9th and then walked the bases loaded in the 10th. Fielding error brings in 1 run. Then another fielding error from Luis Arias brings in the next 2 runs. 3, I am willing to bet they're going to go down as unearned runs because of those errors. And 13-12 is your final score. The A's win their 11th straight. The Twins, 3 straight losses to the A's. They did not score a run in yesterday's games. Back-to-back, they had the 7-inning doubleheaders, which you guys have spoken on before. Losing both legs of the back-to-back 7-inning doubleheader, don't score. Then today you put up 12 runs, and you can't get a win? Are you kidding me? What is going on? What are we doing here? I mentioned to Tanner on the Zoom call the other day when we had our writers meeting, if you want to win fantasy baseball, and this is advice for anyone who's watching this, at any point, this is an evergreen statement. Do not draft any Twins player ever. What you need to do, wait through April. They stink in April every single year. They pick it up about mid-May, carry it on all the way through to the All-Star break. You buy Twins low at the end of April into early May when they start getting hot. After the All-Star break, sell them. They're going to cool off in August. Pick it back up in September. That's when you buy them low again, and you're going to win your championship. But early in the season, this Twins team, oh my goodness, what are we even doing here? I'm losing my mind, guys. It's really I'm trying not to say things on the show here that I don't want on video of me saying. But let me tell you, this was a rough loss today. And I can't wait to hear how Rocco's going to defend this one.
I have to let our viewers in on a little secret. Right before this show, when the Twins took the 12-10 lead, we made an agreement. We made a deal that if the A's came back and won the game, that we were going to let Dan on and we were going to let him rant for as long as he wanted about his Twins. And none of us thought it was going to happen. I mean, you know, you're in extras, you're up by 2, you expect to win that game. Especially like you said, you score 12 runs, you expect to win that game. One guy I do feel bad for. So sad that Arias made that error. He's one of my favorite players in the league. This guy does not get talked about, and he consistently hits 300. I mean, this is a great player here. I think the Twins are underplaying very bad right now, and I do think they end up close to the top of that division. I don't think the White Sox quite have enough. The Royals, to me, right now are overplaying with that roster big time. I know they're only 9-7, but they're still in the lead. So I truly believe that this division will still come down to the Twins and the White Sox, one or the other. What do you think, Tanner?
I kind of like Cleveland.
What?
I think if Cleveland goes out and gets another batter at the deadline, you got Shane Bieber, man. I know one pitcher can't win it all for you, but Shane Bieber has been fantastic. I think don't count Cleveland. I do think Chicago and I think Minnesota, are 1-2 in that division, but I think Cleveland's going to give them a little run for their money. Detroit finished at the bottom of the division. Their highlight of the year was going to Houston, AJ Hinch, and beating his old team, the team that he cheated for, and they gave a standing ovation to 3 times. I think they swept them a 4-game sweep or 3-game sweep, right? that was their highlight of the year. Detroit's done. They suck. But Minnesota, Chicago, and I don't count out Cleveland. When Cleveland hits the baseball, I know they have not hit the baseball much early in the season, but when they do, watch out. I think Cleveland Indians surprising people.
Tanner, I think you're.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay. I was just going to say, I think you're right on in saying that the White Sox are going to be there at the end. Cleveland might hang around a little bit, but I think they're going to tail off at the end. But the Twins, they do not have the pitching to keep up with the White Sox. You look at the White Sox roster top to bottom right now. They're playing better than the Twins. That's probably how it's going to go through the end of the season. But the Twins don't have the arms, especially in the bullpen. Colomé is his third blown save of the season today. And you should almost give him 2 blown saves for blowing it in the 9th and blowing the lead again in the 10th. So he gets the blown save and the loss, but you might as well give him 2 for that. You can't go toe-to-toe with Giolito, with Keuchel, and be trotting out Jose Barrios to be making one of those 2 starts. The Twins don't have, in my mind, the pitching staff that's going to be able to keep up with the White Sox throughout the season.
Jose is one of those guys, though, man. That's another young arm that I love to watch pitch. A few of Jose's pitches I call them cheat code pitches. I mean, they're almost just unhittable.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think you need 2 or 3 of that guy. You know, one more starting and then another one of that guy at the back end of the bullpen. Used to be a huge Alex Colomé fan. The last couple of years, he's kind of lost it a little bit. His velocity's down about 2 miles per hour, and for a back-end closer, velocity being down is worrisome. If you're a starter and you drop a mile an hour or 2, you can usually make up for it with whips. You've got enough time. You can throw your breaking pitches. You can spot. You don't have time to do all that if you have 3 outs. If you come in, you have 3 outs to get, and you're down to 93 from 95. That's a huge difference. That's a massive difference. So I agree.
Well, for the Twins, they just had Brusdar Graterol, who they traded away to get some starting pitching help. But you have a guy who can throw 103 gas out of the bullpen. You know, those guys don't come along very often. So I was admittedly surprised to see the Twins get rid of him. And you have to wonder now with Colomé falling apart, you know, if the Twins maybe should have held on to Brusdar there.
Agreed. I think they should have. He just came back, actually. I believe he's playing for the Dodgers finally this season. I know he was on the IL for a couple of weeks. I haven't got to see him play yet, but that's another guy who I love to watch play the game. As for the Indians and Tanner, what are you talking about? Now, if
just watch, man, just watch. Come on.
Smarter. If the Indians had been smarter the last couple off seasons, this is another team that kind of has driven me crazy a bit. Now they've got Shane Bieber, one of my favorite guys in the game. Can you imagine that staff if it still had Trevor Bauer and Mike Clevenger on it, though?
It'd be crazy.
And I understand that what Clevenger did, I get it. You know, fans were a little upset. A lot of people were upset. It was a silly thing to do. Was it him and Gallen or not Gallen? Plesac. Was it him and Zach Plesac that were out with the no masks on and that? Yeah, that was. I mean, I understand. Punish the guy. I don't think I would have gotten rid of him for that. So, as far as the Indians go, I just don't think they have the pitching to do it. But you're right, they can hit. And they have a ton of youngsters that have either debuted or yet to debut with a ton of talent. So, and I don't know. I don't know. This might be the most – this division's a conundrum because the Twins are playing kind of poorly right now. The White Sox aren't really playing very good. Somehow we went through this whole segment without actually focusing on the team that's in first place. And as a Cardinal fan, I refuse to because they're coached by Manifesto. So there's just no way. Mike Matheny will Mike Matheny them right out of the playoffs before the playoffs happen. So you don't have to worry. He's going to overuse the bullpen until their arms fall off by the end of the season. His hook is about as long as a football field. So he's going to take guys out after they've given up 2 grand slams and things like that. I just don't think the Royals can do it. That being said, I love Whit Merrifield. Can't wait to watch Bobby Witt Jr. play baseball for that team. They're only going to get better when Bobby Witt comes up. So keep your eye on them. They could, if maybe Mike Matheny has learned from his past mistakes with the Cardinals, and maybe he has finally has a team around him that he feels he can take deep. So that being said, we're going to move on to our final segment here on the Sports 2.0 show, and we're going to talk about a few teams here. This is called All Hype or the Real Deal. We're just going to start with, well, a team that we kind of just talked about, a couple of teams we kind of just talked about, but the Royals, all hype or the real deal, guys? Are they there? Are they close to the top of the AL Central at the end, or is this team just all hype and off to a hot start?
All hype, off to a hot start.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
I agree.
Yep.
All hype for me.
I did not think I would get much resistance from either one of you on that. Dan being a Twins fan and Tanner just being a baseball connoisseur that he is.
I love the Royals, and that's a fair take. I love the Royals. I love Soler. I love Whit Merrifield. I love Bobby Witt Jr. I love when Bobby Witt Jr. gets to the show. I love all these guys. They just don't. They're a few years away. They're going to get there. They're just a few years away, like a lot of teams.
And the Benintendi get was a good get for that Royals outfield, but he's batting, I think, like 190 right now. I know he's below the Mendoza line. It's 1-something. But looking at the rest of that team with Salvador Perez back there, the Royals are going to be a good team over the next couple of years. They're definitely still in builder mode though, and I think this hot start is more of a mirage than a trend.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think they're a lot of hype. And I think they're just a couple of years away. I do think in a couple of years they can really stir some stuff up in that division, though, with the Bobby Witt, with Benintendi kind of coming into his prime. They still have Carlos Santana, who can come in and hit a home run anytime he wants to. I mean, he's not your everyday first baseman anymore, but he can go to DH in the next couple of years. I think the Cubs made a mistake moving on from Soler. I love Soler. So that is a team that could stir up some stuff in the next couple of years, but they're just a couple of years away.
They'll need a catcher, though. I don't think Perez will be back behind the dish at the end of his contract.
No,
he's gonna be hitting bombs, but
I mean, there's guys like Salvi. I mean, even you could include Mike Trout in this conversation. How long can these great players sit in these losing situations and not ask out? And in my opinion, you just can't. You can't waste your career. I mean, it's sad to me to see career. I know Salvi's got a ring, and that's great. Mm-hmm. All great for the Royals, but they bought their team and then they sold it, and that's kind of what they did. So I hate seeing great players like that sitting on bad franchises. So moving on, another one that we kind of already talked about, but now we've got Dan in here. The Red Sox, Dan. Are the Red Sox all hype, or are they the real deal? Are they gonna contest the Yankees in this division?
Well, I think they really do have a decent shot to contend. Maybe not for the division title, but you guys kind of touched on earlier in the show while I was sitting in the waiting room to come on and talk AL Central that the Red Sox are still kind of in the mix and they could hang around in that division, and especially if they get the chance to beat up on Baltimore. Baltimore's not going to hang around throughout the rest of this season. They're going to tail off here at some point. They're middle of the division right now, but I think they're still a few games back of first, at least 3 or 4. They're going to fall off, and the Red Sox are going to put up some wins there. But across the board, the rest of the American League is all down. We talked about how the AL Central is kind of backwards with the Royals on top, the Twins slow start, the White Sox hanging around, but not off to the start that we thought they were going to be capable of. And then out west is kind of chaos at the moment, and a lot of good teams, but how much are they going to beat up on each other and kind of lower that ceiling but raise the floor for all of the teams in that division? So I think there's a chance the Red Sox hang around in this playoff picture just because of the rest of the American League being there's such parity throughout the rest of the American League that they could hang around and make a surge and get there. Which is really hard to believe, too, when you consider that they got rid of their entire the killer bee outfield is gone. Betts, Bradley, and Benintendi are all gone, and you thought there's no way the Red Sox are going to be a playoff team in the next 3 to 5 years. And now, off to a hot start, they really could still be in the mix.
I feel like we should preface Tanner responding to this with Tanner is a Red Sox fan, but as a guy that knows Tanner well, I feel like he's going to take those goggles off and he's going to give us a straight answer here. So what do you think, Tanner? Your Red Sox, are they all hype? Or are they the real deal?
I think we're going to split the difference between hype and real deal right now. If I can do that, if that's cheating, I'm going to say they're closer to the real deal in the American League this year. I think the Yankees will still win the division. I think they do get the wild card spot, especially a lot of people forget this. Chris Sale is going to be back soon.
Yeah.
By the summer. Chris Sale is going to be back. One of the best pitchers in baseball.
Still in the barn.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how he's going to pitch coming off Tommy John surgery? I don't know. I think Garrett Richards, we need to get rid of him, send him down to the minors if you can do that. I don't know if you can or not, but send him down. This team's not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, you got Devers, you got Bogarts, you got Marwin Gonzalez, you got Bobby Dahlbeck. Bobby Dahlbeck was mashing baseballs in spring training. Absolutely mashing baseballs, and he hasn't started to hit yet. You got Christian Vasquez behind the plate. Arguably one of the best catchers in the, I'm going to say the American League. I'm not going to blow it up to the league, but he's a top tier catcher right now. He's establishing himself as a top tier catcher. You got Franchi Cordero when he starts to hit. You got Kike Hernandez. I love Kike. Just does whatever it takes to win games. And you got Alex Verdugo. You got guys that can win. You got guys that can play. I don't think they're as good as the Yankees. And I know that probably sounds crazy to people that don't watch a lot of baseball and just look at the standings. The Yankees are going to heat up. When they do, they're going to win this division. But the Red Sox are a legit wild card threat, and you do not want to face them in October when Chris Sale gets back and has 2 months of pitching under his belt.
I kind of agree with what you're saying, but I'm going to go real deal, just full on real deal. I think this team is there at the end. I think they can compete with the Yankees if their pitching staff can come back fully healthy. And as you said, Garrett Richards, man, I mean, he was trouble in Los Angeles as well for the Angels. I don't know if he has options, but I'm with you. Send him down. Something's not right. He needs to get right. So he's always been very, very streaky, though. He's one of those guys that'll put together 4 or 5 quality starts, and then he may not get one for a month. So, but I do think the Red Sox are a real deal. I think once Bobby Dahlbeck gets going, that offense becomes a force. I just don't see Xander Bogaerts never slows down. First of all, let's just pardon me. Let's just acknowledge how good Bogey is at baseball, because
we didn't even say JD. I didn't even say JD Martinez either. I
forgot about that.
I didn't fucking,
which is crazy. I it's odd. I didn't think of him until you said it, and I'm calling him the real deal. So, but we should acknowledge how good Bogey is at the game of baseball. This guy flies under the radar every year. All he does is hit 300 with 25, 30 bombs every year. So, no big deal there. And on top of some great defense. So I love Xander Bogaerts. I think Devers does nothing but go to the moon at this point. And once Bobby Dahlbeck figures out some major league pitching, look out for this offense. Maybe they don't need another pitcher. Maybe this offense is so good they just start winning 10-7 games all year. So I do think the Red Sox are the real deal. Moving on to our last all hype or the real deal. This is a team that Tanner and I both touched on a little bit earlier, and we're going to talk about them now, and that's the Oakland Athletics. 11-7, leading the AL West right now. The AL West kind of looks like a crapshoot right now. There's nobody that's really standing out and nobody that's not really standing out right now. So what about the Athletics, Dan? What do you think about those guys out in California?
Well, I think I'm not going to have a whole lot of kind words to say about the Athletics, given what they did to my Twins over the last couple of days, the last 48 hours.
Think about it when I asked the question. This is amazing. This is amazing.
But no, the Athletics, they are a very good team, and they're, they shut down the Twins bats for 18 innings. Or not 18, I guess 14 innings yesterday with the back-to-backs, the doubleheaders. That's going to confuse me all season. You're used to a doubleheader being 9-9 at 7-7. Apologies for that. But they shut the Twins down, held them scoreless the entire day yesterday. And then they get into extras today, and they take advantage of your mistakes. They make you pay. They play smart baseball. And they keep coming back and finding ways to win, too. Down in the 9th, down in the 10th. Twins were up, I think, let me look at the score sheet here, try and get that in front of me here. I lost it. Never mind. So we'll skip that. But the A's, they're a good team. And I really think they are going to be walking away with the AL West title. I think the Astros are going to have a tough time recovering from the slow start, the injuries that they've had out of the gate. That's going to be a tough hill to climb. The Angels, I don't know if they have the depth to keep up the pace throughout the rest of the season. The Mariners, a great ball club so far, but they're still a really young team, still kind of trying to figure things out, like what we had talked about with the Royals. So the A's, I do think they are still the favorite to win that division, and I think they take it.
Tanner, what do you think? A's win this division? Do the A's take it home?
Dan, I like the way you think, buddy.
Yes.
I like the way
That's
you
what
think.
I wanted to hear.
I do think Houston's going to be in it in the end of the day. They got to, fight their injuries that they've dealt with. They're going to come back. But a scary thing for Houston, I mean, Jake Odorizzi is not pitching well right now. That's scary. That's a guy that they're going to rely on. Framber Valdez, when he gets back, we'll see how he contributes. But I like the Oakland Athletics. You looked at their roster. It's a roster full of studs, low-paying studs that they're not paying a lot of money. But you got Matt Chapman. You got Matt Olson. You got Ramon Laureano. You got Mark Canha. You got Elvis Andrews. You got guys, Stephen Piscotty. You got guys that can play baseball, and you got pitchers. I think they are going to be in the run in the end of the day. LA, if you look at LA's top tier players, they're a lot better than Oakland's top tier players. I mean, that's no surprise. You got Mike Trout. You got what's his name at shortstop? I said
Ohtani.
Yeah, you got Ohtani. You got Rendon. You got guys. You got guys that can play. But that bottom of the order is going to hurt them. They need another pitcher. I like the Oakland Athletics. I don't know if they win the division. I'm not ready to say that, but they are the real deal.
I agree. A's are the real deal. I think they have what it takes to win that division. I am with my heart rooting for the Angels to win the division because I'm such a huge Mike Trout fan, and I just feel so bad for him. I just want the man to win a playoff series, for Christ's sake. Just win a playoff series. I get so tired of, you see on some Facebook forums, maybe some Twitter comments like, oh, this guy, he sucks. He can't even make it to the playoffs. This is baseball. This is not basketball. You can't, a superstar can't carry you into the playoffs like in other sports. He hits 3 to 4 times or 3 to 5 times a game. You can't get enough runs out of Mike Trout's at bats to carry that team into the playoffs. I hope and pray that they make a move for a pitcher so they can put up a fight against the A's. But in the end, you got Matt Chapman, you got Matt Olson, you've got Ramon Laureano. These guys can hit, and they're studs. And as Tanner said, they're low-paid studs. They're not the guys that are all over SportsCenter every night. But Matt Chapman, these guys are great players. They've got Murphy catching, a young catcher that I love in this game. I love Murphy. And a guy that won't be playing for him this year, one of my favorite prospects, Tyler Soderstrom. Look out for Tyler Soderstrom in a couple of years. This team could get even better whenever he comes and plays in the show. So I also think the A's are the real deal. So, all right, guys, that was a fantastic segment. I'm going to close us out by saying one thing. MLB The Show 21, folks. That's all. It's the greatest sports game that has ever been released, and it's not close. It is the greatest, maybe the greatest video game ever released. I will fight gamers. I don't care. I'm not a gamer. I'm a sports guy. Yeah, I get it. I will fight you. I'm more athletic because I'm a sports guy. I will fight you. So MLB The Show.
I'll play you as soon as we get the servers back up.
Oh, I know. It's been a Diamond Dynasty today. Just ticked me off with the servers being down. So, but if you guys out there in the sports world, if you haven't played the show 21 yet, or you don't have your copy yet, please go out and get it. It is so much fun, especially if you're a baseball lover like myself. It's fun opening packs of cards in a game. It's fun building your Diamond Dynasty team. It's fun building your franchise. And, the Cardinals win a lot more games in the show 21. I'm not going to lie. They win a lot more. They have way better pitching.
Colomé is pretty successful out of the bullpen now.
Yes, Colomé is a beast in the game. Okay, guys. So everybody run out and get the show 21 so we can all chat about that in our upcoming shows. For Erik Neff, for Tanner Kern, for Dan Bradley, this has been the Sports 2.0 show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you sometime next week, likely next Wednesday. We're going to talk some more basketball. We're going to talk some more baseball. So we will see you then, folks. Have a good night.